I don't want to give the people some common sense things for people to do. Try to keep themselves safe. Where you go, when you go, where to like neighborhoods, environment, that kind of stuff is the best. I think we can do people who want to come back. And you just have to be smart about your own security. Just like in this country, there are places you don't go certain time of day, certain evenings, right in this metro area, right? And so it's those simple sort of direction and guidelines we're going to develop and prepare to give to diasporas who want to come home to participate in the approval process. And we'll continue to put pressure on the government to provide safety because that's the ultimate responsibility, is to make sure the police is not partisan and led by professionals, and they are resourced to provide safety and security for the citizens of the country. And we'll continue to put pressure on them to do that and just provide some guidance to people when they go into analyze their lives.
Okay.
And I don't think it's as bad as people think, so that's you gotta be careful about. I don't think it's that as bad.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure because we
No,
want to
let him go. You've been waiting for a while.
to ask a
Yeah.
question. All right, just quickly, are there any people out there that need to come in? Okay, just want to make sure because we want to make sure we're sticking to the schedule. Okay, go ahead.
I would like to stand, but I can't.
Oh, that's okay.
So, say, I'm on the other side. My name is Simon Lumencio. I'm the publisher of the Prospective magazine online.
Wow.
The question I want to ask has to do with, first of all, Mr. Cummings, you have answered most of the question I have been asked correctly. The analysis is on the money, so I will congratulate you for that. The problem I have is this. I said earlier that change, the only thing that is constant is change. Change is constant. I come from a progressive line. We have been educating the Liberian masses for a very long time. I've arrested them for 50 years. I'm the founding member of ULA and the 11th president of ULA. When we came there, we demonstrated against the Liberian people. But one of the blame that they put on us, that the progressive were the one that caused the problem, as they would say Liberia was sweet. It's a sweet Liberia, Liberia was sweet, at the expense of the masses. So some of us went to school and came here, we started advocating. All I want to know from you is, what is your view about blaming the progressive for bringing about change?
Thank you. And let me say, I don't blame any one person or one individual for where Liberia finds itself. I blame Liberians, I blame us collectively. You're absolutely correct. Liberia was not an inclusive society. That's just a fact. And it was an environment that created opportunity for the progressive to encourage, Liberians to speak up for their rights. That's why this polarized analogy for me is important, and guaranteeing every Liberian the right to put their hand on rights. Because that's not in the history of that country, and it's not history to me, right? And so I don't think progressives or anybody, we collectively got to own where this country is. And it's only us that can fix it. Collectively. So I use I very rarely. It's gotta be we. Right? So no, I don't think progressives at all. If back then every Liberian felt to put their hand in water rights, the progressives wouldn't have had an argument with it. But that wasn't the case. And they all walking per Bible door. That was true. And today is true, unfortunately. There's different Bible But monkeys say doesn't work. We get, every time we change, we get a new bubble. Throw it, and the monkeys are sitting in that environment. I'm not sure that's a good analogy, but yes or no.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So she's next. I can get the microphone. We got it.
Oh, she's nice, and then.
Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. He was blocking him. Yeah. Go ahead. Ladies first. And then
My question is about the biometrics. I know, Liberians are supposed to be voting on the 10th of October, and you have changed to biometric. My question is, how certified are we all that it's going to work? It's not another trick and form for them to rig the election.
So, look, it's a real risk. Let me first of all say that the idea of vote biometric is a good idea. And that's technology, in fact. If well implemented, it should help secure the election. Because the rigging of election starts at voter registration. That's where it actually starts. And most of the countries now in the region have voted biometric. And there's lag, and so we need to catch up. This is the proper vote. Is very classic. This government, they waited at the last minute. When you introduce your new technology, where the National Election Commission or anybody, where you have no experience in time, you actually got to do almost like a practice run, and you run all a new system in parallel the first time around to make sure you're checking that the outputs are the same or better with the new versus the old before you migrate completely to the new. They have not given themselves any time to do that. But again, it's classic, the ineptitude and the incompetence. And these are strong words, but they happen to be true.
Yes.
Of what's happening today. So there's a real risk. And that risk start happening tomorrow when the voter registration starts. And so we're doing our best to try to monitor it. We are going to keep calling out any shortcomings we see in the process. If we need to use the court system now to help us in our process, we will as well. But it's a real risk. Just because of the timing, how late they're doing it, they've got no experience in doing it, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a risk we're going to try to monitor to try to minimize the amount of that.
Do you have the microphone?
Hello, Mr. Collins. My name is Isaiah Lincoln, and for the record, I think I have a connection with you, and I also have a connection with your Weah, because George Weah and Carl Jebel, George Weah, we all play for IE, play for Luca. While they were going to play professional, my parent was for education, so I ended up going to University of Illinois. And my connection with you is news travel. You know, every time I go to New York or Philadelphia, around the country, I don't know how people might know you came to my house, but your advice to me was important when you came to visit tonight. And I came with you and said, you know, Mr. Cummings, why do you have to put yourself through this? If I were you, I retired from Coca-Cola, I'd be vacationing all around the world. I would give myself a headache. And you look at me and you look at all my degree and things you say, and then Tima said, oh, Joe, we are afraid of him because he knows too much. And you said that, you know, you need to, you know, give contribution back to your country. But the good thing I tell people around the country that you never told me to join your party. You just advised me you got to contribute to Liberia with all, you know, all the experience you have in this country. But my question is, and not that I'm defending you, but when I travel, people ask me, oh, Chiba, you know, Timas friendly with, you know, Alex Cummings, Kajabo, like a man, he always calling you from New York. So why can't you, you know, talk to them to have them, you know, tell your man, say he should be vice president for Joseph Waka. And my defense to them, I always ask them, not that I'm defending you. I mean, this is my fourth time seeing you in person. I think you left my place. But my question to them, I asked them, where were you when Obama became president? Because Obama came to our university and told us that if people wanted to give Hillary a chance, they said I should wait for my time. When is my time? So that's the question I always ask them. I said, if Obama was going to listen to the people that were telling him, to not run, wait for his time, when he was going to become president for the United States. So my question, 2 months ago, I told a fellow in Philadelphia, I said, okay, the day I meet Cummings, I will ask him, why can't he be vice president for Joseph Walker? I just want you to address that. So when I travel again, no, let him emphasize it on the more. I want you to emphasize it on the more so that when they approach it, I will hear from the husband. I know you just brushed on it a little bit, but I want you to go in depth. Because I'm not kidding with you. I get that every time, and they think that I'm living to your house. So I went to address this here. So when I'm addressing it around the country, I will tell them. Because let me tell you, the picture I took with you when Kyle Jebo came, and Kyle Jebo told me that, Chiba, come and take a picture with us. And you came and took that picture with me. That picture went viral to Monrovia, and people started calling me and say, oh, the man, we are mad with you because you took a picture with Cummings. And I won't tell you what I told him. It's not good for TV. But I just want you to address that. Why can't you be vice president with Joseph Walker?
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great Chipa.
Yeah, no, I think we try to address it.
Yeah, but I will just go in
Earlier,
there for
so
sure.
it's, the one thing I add to what I said earlier, you can't say no to what they have been offering, but it's also not a job I'm interested in.
Okay.
Let me explain why. The reason why I'm aspiring to be president is the job is not the destination. The destination is to use the job to work with Nigerians to change Nigeria. The vice presidency don't give you an opportunity. So if you know why I want the job, you're not asking me to go do that, right? Because people think, oh, Joe will be president. I don't want to be president. The job is, people come in the room to stand up, oh, tracking. I have no interest in that. It's to use the job to work with Nigerians so I can change the country.
Okay.
And the vice president doesn't give you the opportunity to do that.
Okay.
The other point though is that for many Nigerians, they don't want to make a choice. They want to have a least resistance. So if we say, go be with Joe Bokai, it's easy for them. Then I don't have to choose between Cummings and Bokai. They know you're going to choose. If we want this country to change, we're going to make choices. I'm not going to make it easy. You can't make a choice. The path of least resistance is not a while because where they say, we want this the easy, shortcut, jump to the front of the line, don't want to pay our dues. Our country will not change if that won't. I have no interest in that. We gotta put in processes, we gotta put in systems, everybody gotta follow it. And that's how you get repeatability, right? So, yeah, it's not our job. People say, wait, that's the country to wait. No, that's the way to wait. That's not, you delay Liberia's investment, right? So, yeah, that's in addition to what I said earlier. No offense to the job. For some people, that's a great opportunity, right? But constitutionally, that job has no responsibility. In fact, even the former VP, Joe said he was part for 12 years, his words. I don't want to be part. That's not my interest, right? So it's not, people say, oh, they're not desperate, or I'm desperate to change that, but not for the job. Right? So it's not desperation, it's not about a job. Hopefully that helps.
Thank you.
Wait.
Just a quick comment.
Okay, go ahead.
Just to piggyback on what the people are online. All right, so just to piggyback off of what was coming, this is not a question, it's a comment, right? So you know I'm not political at all. But the reason I decided to talk about this is because I listen to what Mr. Cummings says and it makes sense, right? This man has policy teams working on the health policy, working on education policy. You don't see that often a lot of people. If you want to make a change, you need to have policies, and those policies have to be put in place. So when I see somebody doing that, then I know they're the real deal. So for me, and for all of us here, I think as we listen, take that into consideration. Somebody who takes this time out to pick people, and the people leading these policy teams are people with experience in those fields. You get what I'm saying? So they're not people you just pick off the street. You cannot have a minister of health person who was a teacher or a secretary or something. You guys have people that have the background, that have the qualifications to do the job. And so as I'm watching this thing unfold right in front of my very eyes, I see the different policy teams that he's put in place, and I see the people leading them. Y'all, I'm telling you, if this man becomes president, the sky's the limit. And I'm just like, I'm with him. I want to see Liberia move forward. That's it.
All right, let's take a question. I know I've seen some hands, but let's pause for a second and take some questions from social media again. This question is from Tomwell. It says, Mr. Cummings, is there any possibility that the CDC doesn't go to second round?
Before I answer that question, just to emphasize the point Clarice made, and maybe it's part of answer your question of what's different is, and I forgot, so thanks to Clarice, we actually do work now on all of the different areas in terms of what we would do. So we're not waiting. And by the way, in the unlikely case we're not successful, we'll give the work to whoever. Will not be wasted, but we are doing the work now, so we can hit the ground. We'll not be guessing what we're going to do for healthcare, education, infrastructure, etc. And where can it cost to do it, right? So is there any possibility, if you put cheating aside, which they will try to do, yes, it's possible they don't make it to the second round. Very possible. Don't mind all that noise. They talk about grand coalition. It's just bribing people. They just paying the senior members of these political parties to say they come into this grand coalition. The actual partisans, the actual people on the ground are fed up. They are tired. They're suffering. So yeah, if again, cheating aside, there's a very good chance they won't make it. But you cannot negate the power of incumbency. Anywhere in the world, incumbency comes with some benefits. So they likely will get to the second round, but they may not.
All right, I see your hand, but there was a gentleman back there, so let me come to him. So we'll go to him first, and then followed by her, and then we'll come to you, okay?
Mr. Cummings, thanks so much for coming out here. I'm Jacob Cosway, and I was actually invited by a few your grassroots true soldiers to actually come out here and see you. So I appreciate you even coming out here and the invitation as well to be out here. I guess my question is in regards to the infrastructure in Liberia. You're a businessman, you have deep business acumen. And what are your intentions or your vision, and how are you even going to accomplish it with the roads, the infrastructure, and getting things done in that manner? Because I believe that if that is addressed by government, then you will attract more businesses to come in there, and in turn, help the people by creating jobs, and it just becomes a domino effect. Not having that myopic aspect, but more so a long-term vision for the country, starting from the basis, the foundation of infrastructure. How are we going to achieve that, sir?
Right. Thank you. And let me thank my grassroots who encouraged you to come. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming today. So you're right. There are a few basic things you need to have in place for development to take place in any country. And we have 5 priorities. When you're always going to remind me to repeat the 5 what we need to do, and then we have 5 how, because a lot of times we talk about what we do. And what we'll do is the obvious things, right? We gotta fix education, healthcare, rules, et cetera, et cetera. But how is important. But anyway, back to your question. The US, USAID did a study, I think it was back in the mid-2000s, it's been a while now, but it's still valid, at determining what were the limiters, what limited economic growth and activity in Liberia. And I think that report is public, I think it's online, but there were two things they call binding limiters. That if you want to fix those two things, you want to unleash economic activities. Many other things you gotta do. But the two key ones were roads and electricity. Without those two things, it's hard for a country to move forward. But I would add to that, running water, because a lot of diseases you talk about are waterborne diseases. Right? And I would add technology as an enabler. So making sure the whole country is connected to technology. If you don't have that basic infrastructure in place, you will never grow your economy. You cannot add value to your natural resources if you don't have consistent electricity at a reasonably low cost. In fact, to keep the electricity rates low is a virtuous cycle. It can be vicious or virtuous. You need to have some manufacturing. But you can't have manufacturing of electricity. Yeah, you gotta do both. And then you gotta have roads to get from point A to point B. Told you talk about market roads, that far back. This one was the whole interstate network system was all about developing our agricultural sector in this country. If you want to develop agricultural, I know you gotta fix the roads. So first get the goods to market, market. So you still have some science in America called F&M. F&M, they got numbers, right? Farm to market roads, right? So we have to do those things. You know, the last government made some strides in roads. In fact, when they left office, they had monies allocated. So on the real life example, the Ganda Sapele Road, there was money allocated to finish that road. 5 million not done because this government now contributing their share. Fact, I'm not just saying it, right? So a lot of the multilateral institutions will contribute towards infrastructure development, meaning roads and electricity. Liberia had lost the MCR status, the Millennium Challenge, right? They were providing monies for electricity in Liberia. That's been lost because of the lack of openness of this government. So we gotta fix those things. We can't fix those things, and then you attract investors. In the meantime, you can do this to get around it. You can create zones where in that zone, you will make sure electricity is there, water is there, and so you can start small scale manufacturing until you fix the big system, right? So you can be creative in how we think about these things, so you can start seeing some benefit before you can systemically fix the country, because that's a 25-year project, right? But we have started the journey, right? And people can see some improvement in their lives while we fix the most systemic problems over time. And then we gotta make sure we hand it off to somebody who will continue the journey as opposed to taking it backwards. Which is what's happening now.
What happened to the control?
Let's please, I'm so sorry, guys. I've been watching people's hands, so she's been waiting for a while. So if you want to pause on to that, we can come back to that. Let me give her a chance, and then after her, then she's been waiting too.
Yeah.
So let's go in that order.
Yeah, hi, my name is Lena, because she knows me.
I know the others very well. We go back a ways. We won't tell people how long.
Okay. Anyway, I'm happy you mentioned something about the water system, because the experiences that I've been having this housing case with a UP, Ellen, and all of that, and taking doctors and nurses home to do surgeries and whatnot. It's been bad. The last experience I had, we had in the most Liberians here, some of the Liberians, dialysis patients. And that was the last in Canada. We had a group from the island. system. You feel?
Correct.
Big time. So, from my experience, where I can go home every year with doctor's notice, I even work with Cynthia Nash for our program that we went. It's been bad, really bad. And some of the people have, some of our donors or some of our people have volunteered to give things, they have refused. Even they put for the mercy ship. I wasn't going to need a mercy ship. It's terrible. So now that I've heard what you said, that you do have people in place, especially with the textile sector, that's what I'm interested in. Okay, we have had experience with the minister. That things that you said, I've gone elsewhere. You know where, but I can't say where. Okay, so if you have people in place, I'm willing to work with whoever it has to do with the health system. I'm willing to work. Then I can get in touch with people who have been doing it and have stopped. And tell them that we have somebody in place.
So that, and you got Isaac. So we all say the people here, we know how to say it. So. Yeah, there you go. So, but Isaac, you can get details. And get water, clean, portable, running, portable water, which should be free, pretty much. You can get out of the country, all these diseases, both communicable and non-communicable, so diarrhea, typhoid, all kind of waterborne, illnesses, right? And then dialysis, you need electricity, consistently, and water.
Water is life.
Exactly. You can do all electricity, you can do all. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Edna Lincoln, and I'm a nurse, and she already elaborating things I have questions on. And I'm also into dialysis nursing. What I do most times every month, per se, I send money in the villages to people in the rural areas for medication and stuff. And so you did mention about primary care, but I want to know, my question to you is, what are you going to do to extend those care towards the villages, the village area, where people can be able to have healthcare system within that area? Because from my experience and my views that I have, whenever I send money over there, whoever takes the money have to have transportation to get them further. But because of their disability, some of them are not able to reach that far. So my question is, what are you going to do to extend the healthcare system within the villages?
Right. So, we'll do several things. First, I actually learned the healthcare team yesterday, because we did a Zoom call where all the various teams were sharing some preliminary recommendations and findings. And one piece of information was that there are 945, something, almost 1,000 clinics that exist already across the country. So we first need to assess those and their proximity to high population areas. How far do you have to come to get to those clinics and fix those? Then for the more remote areas, this is where technology comes. We may have to have roaming clinics on wheels, where people can get to these smaller villages where the population centers are not high enough to justify the clinic. So that's another idea on how we can get people access to healthcare at the point of residence, as opposed to them walking miles and miles and miles. So that's one thought and one suggestion. But the reality, though, just to be clear, all of this stuff will take a little bit of time, right? But we're clear on the destination, we're clear on how to get there, and we will make sure we execute to get there over time. But on an interim basis, we'll need to use roving clinics on wheels to get to these remote villages, but then fix the existing clinics today, refurbish them where necessary, make sure they got drugs, make sure they got boarding rooms, et cetera, to address what's killing our people. And then some of this will encourage our international partners, civil society folks, not necessarily healthcare, but we think about how we can use the private sector in many of these areas, right? So you think about this country, the government does not run almost anything. The electricity is privatized, the water system, the government regulates, but almost everything you think about it is privatized. The for-profit model is a powerful model, right? But healthcare, I believe, is a right. So we're not gonna kind of play around with that, but we're going to kind of set the values. I think we're ready.
Okay, I know I see hands, I know you're next in the round, Kayla, I see hands, but before that, we need to go back to social media. Before I engage, thanks for those who are watching on social media. I'm seeing a lot of questions, so I may not get to all, but I'll get to some. The next question here is from James Hua, and it's a kind of long one, so I'll do my best to read through it quickly. It says, the most significant step to any change in Liberia is to win the presidency. We have seen the replacement of election commissioners for every county in Liberia with CDCs, the appointment of a new chief justice from the southeastern region, and the conclusion of a new legal census that recorded more population growth in the southeastern regions and business regions. When and how are we going to prevent a WIA-led government from rigging this election, knowing what happened during the 2017 elections with the duplicate entries? And he goes on to explain a little more than that. And then he ends with, let's see, what is the CDP doing to counter this in the court of public opinion? Because as we are aware, the perception of the people may influence the outcome of the votes.
Yeah, so the similar question to the biometric one, in terms of what we're trying to do. But on the census, specifically, for example, we just filed a case with the courts. And by the way, I don't think we should assume the court would necessarily do exactly what we want. They may, right? And they all more or less appointed by him, at the exception of one now. So that risk exists, but I want to give the court the benefit of the doubt that it will follow the law and they will do the right things. So we'll use the court system to help protect the votes, starting with the lawsuits filed on Friday. And we'll be making more this year around and starting tomorrow, starting this week. But it's all around the census because we also have suspicion. It just seems incredulous that it's only the southeastern counties that population grows exponentially.
Yes.
Right? So now, again, this is part of the CDC. They're hard about governing, but they're trying to do smart politics about it. You know what I mean? Because we is from the southeast, and he did well, so if overinflate the population, and he wins it, people will say, that's where he went from, right? So that's it. So we're gonna look at that. By the way, we'll do well in the southeast. That's for the record. We'll do well there, and we're gonna challenge all of these things. Look, we've been asking for the details of the census. Still don't have it. They gave these line numbers. We said, because to really attack it, we can't be superficial about it, right? We need to get the details. And it's still, legislature hasn't provided the details. It's all come to the office and then you can look at it there. They need to make it available, right? So we're going to try to be vigilant. This is an area where we need to work together as the opposition party. People talk about opposition collaboration, opposition unity. We should be unifying ourselves to protect the vote, to protect the election integrity. And so we are going to be aggressively reaching out to the opposition parties so we can work together to make sure we minimize the risk of cheating, which we know they're trying to do. Right? And the present point, make sure the court of public opinion knows this. So I'm going to record now, I think, in the recent past, that these guys are trying to cheat. And we're going to start to call them out as we're going to make the public aware of what is being planned.
Okay, I just want to add, the people on social media are saying, please speak loudly when you're asking your questions. They can't quite hear you.
Thank you very much, sir. My question is in threefold. The first one is, if elected, President, what change or what plans do you have in decentralizing Liberia? Because I'll be naive to believe that change will happen overnight. We know that Monrovia is not Liberia. Secondly, what plans do you have to discourage people from seeking government jobs? I mean, because we know a lot of people run to Liberia or seek government jobs because they know there's impunity in corruption. Somebody steals from labor ministry and they transfer it into commerce ministry. What are your plans to discourage such practices? And how can you encourage the private sector? How can you encourage our parents to divert from seeking government jobs to go into the private sector? Because we believe, I mean, we know from our experiences here that the private sector is what brings development. Thirdly,
I think three is enough. We have lots of people waiting, so let's hear it.
I'll let
Yeah, and Faustina, after he's done, then he's next. I'm sorry. For you too.
So decentralization, we will decentralize, there's simple answer. I often remind Liberians that one of my favorite sayings is that Albert Einstein quote. You can't keep doing the same thing and get different results. The government has been organized the same way for the last 175 years. If we want different results, among the things we have to change is how the government is structured, how it's organized. And one of the things that the other countries will be known for after my presidency is the guy that decentralized the government. I'm very glad for that. I go back to my corporate experience at Coca-Cola, where we operated over 200 countries around the world. And whenever we tried to centralize the company, our results improved for a little while, and then they deteriorated. Whenever we decentralize, we get the operating guys, the guys in the countries, in the division group, the authority, the business development. Decentralization, personal experience, works. You push accountability down. People who are impacted by the services, they can go see the superintendent, they can go to his office or the mayor. Yeah, come tomorrow. If you want to get your land soiled, you want to get divorced, you want to get whatever, you need to do it in your country. You don't have to come to work. So decentralization is something we are going to push. So you can, we're recording 3 years into the job, come back and say, what happened with decentralization? We'll do that. The other two question was all around the private sector. And everybody got the area, right? The private sector got the area. Joe, we are area of football. Back when he was a good football player.
Oh, yeah.
That one we cannot take away from the president. He was a great football player. But by the way, he was never captain of any of the team. Never. Right? He was always the best player, but the captain banned the best player. And he never got a captain's band. But so the private sector, and I mentioned when we're talking about infrastructure, that we're thinking about privatizing these things, right? I mentioned in this country, just like you said, the government regulates. The government doesn't run or manage. Yes, it's a passport, that's security, they will manage the military, right? But almost everything is the private sector. So we privatize as much as is practical in Liberia. This obsession with government. But there's a reason why. Because the guys and the girls and people see running in nice cars, and nice clothes, and golf officials. And I the money they're making from their salaries, right? So when we stop the stealing, when we stop the impunity, the attraction to government will go down, or you gotta create alternatives for people. You can't, so people say you want to shrink the government, the answer is yes, but not right away. Because you create unnecessary hardship. But as you grow the private sector, we shrink the government. But then people have alternatives to go to. If you just shrink it, you give alternatives, you will have riots in there. Suffering, that's not what we want. So yes, we look at all of these state-owned enterprises, LEC, water and sewer, telecom, we have looked at bundling those Because individually, I don't think it has scale. Only those are prioritizing. And look, Liberian and people are buying, by the way. We can help Liberians raising capital. Those are before, it may be, but prioritization, encouraging Liberians to go to business, entrepreneurship. One of my thinking as a policy team to revisit the whole ministerial, the different ministries, do we need them, do we should we restructure them? One thought is to combine youth and entrepreneurship, right? Because Liberia is a young country, like Africa is. The median age in Liberia is 19 years. 65% of the population is under 35. So we need the young people to be entrepreneurs. So I think they did that recently in Kenya, combine youth and entrepreneurship into one organization. Again, to force people to think about the private sector and forget this obsession with government. So many of you want to go home, think about going home to start businesses. We'll create the environment for you to do it. And don't let go. We're not going to encourage it. All right?
Yes, he's next. No, he's next.
Thank you, Mr. Coming for coming. My name is Ivan Quebec. It is very difficult around the world today to see free and fair election. What hope do you have that the election that will be held in the Republic of Liberia will be free and fair? Thank you.
As mentioned earlier, I think there was a question on biometric or online for the census. We have real concerns about whether the election will be free and fair. And I'm not going to come and say I'm confident it will be. I'm not confident it will be. And so we got to sensitize people now to the fact that a election will not be free and fair. We got to do everything we can to work together in opposition to try to minimize the impact of the cheating. For example, we all shouldn't be doing our individual poll watching. We should be combining our efforts to monitor elections at every precinct in the country. And so we will make the effort to reach out. We'll make the effort to raise the money because none of this thing is free, by the way. To raise the money so that we can monitor, starting now with voter registration, but also the actual voting process, because I don't have confidence. We don't have confidence that it will be free, fair, and fair. Let's deal with this government. We'll do everything we can to minimize and to sensitize the other people and to remind the government that the beginnings of the unravel of our country was around 85 election. And I hope they go from history that we can't repeat that. So we should all pray for the leadership of Liberia, seriously. So they can think about the country first, but they think about themselves, so they can make the right decisions in the interest of the country. And seriously, we should all not just pray for Liberia, but pray for the current leadership of the country, so we can do the right thing and not plunge this country back into disarray.
My name is Valerie Johnson. Mr. Cummings, I just want to commend you for stepping forward and throwing your hat in the ring to become president of the Republic of Liberia. And I really hope and pray that you do become successful. My question is twofold, and I think you have skirted around some of my thoughts, but what is the one thing, what would you say inspired you so much to leave this country and step forth and say, I want to become the next president of the Republic of Liberia? What is that one? I think it's more than, it has to be some inspiration. It has to have been there. And then the other question I have is, what is the one thing, where will you start considering the situation in Liberia with all the corruption or stealing, as you put it? Where are you going to start to put this country back on its feet? Thank you.
Thank you. So the inspiration or the decision, it wasn't an aha moment that, there was a flash that says, go be president, right? It was a reflection as I was thinking about the last chapter of my life, because been a child. It's biologically, physically age-wise. And as I reflected on my life, I always started by saying, I've been very blessed in life. Blessed to be a Liberian, something I'm proud of. I didn't choose the parents I was born into, but I was blessed that they were both hardworking, good values. My mother is always a hardworking everybody. In fact, my mother's still alive, thank God. My father was in government, he left government, he is late for the education, went into the priesthood, became an episcopal priest. You know, that's unusual for, but I saw that as a blessing, right? My education, demonstration, CFA, content. The fact that I've been blessed to have lived and worked in multiple countries. I've lived and worked in Nigeria, in Kenya, South Africa, the US, the UK. So I look at all this and I'm like, I don't think God blessed me just to retire and go near the beach. Sometimes I think maybe I should have done that. But that there was a different calling and obligation to go back and help the source of all of these blessings, which is Liberia. Right? Also, education was in that country. The values, hard work, integrity. My parents never lived anywhere else until towards the end after the coup was done. So it is over time I thought, you know what, I gotta have an impact. And if you want to impact all 5.2 million Liberians, that's the job. You know, you can do many other things to help people, and that's a good thing. And all of you here, with family, friends, you said on the home. But if you want to impact all 5 million people, that's your job to do it too. And I felt the downside risk for me was low, is low. Let me go give it a go make the case to serve the country. Because I view it as second leadership. Right? It's not to love all people. I don't even like the bishop business, you know, all that nonsense. You know, it's like complete. I have no interest in that. But the opportunity to serve, to work with Liberians, to change this country. And we can do it, I have no doubt. You look at the work the policy people are doing, it's inspiring. They're all Liberians. They understand what needs to be done, what needs to be changed. So we're going for broke. We're going to go for it and make the case. But we'll be successful. And Liberia will change.
Who will?
Yeah, another question. There's no one, we are here on multiple fronts. Unfortunately, you know, there's no one lever because the country is so broken. But what I tell people, some of the things we're doing in the first 100 days, maybe that helps. First thing is, from wherever the inauguration ceremony is, to be determined, because I will do it somewhere different. I went straight to work, to the office, on day one. Anybody want to have inaugural ball, you're going to pay for him. You'll pay for that, will come, the government has to once in because that inaugural ball, the woman sitting in Banga, in Saklepi, so you can have the ball, I will come. I'm not paying for it, the government not paying for it, right? So we went straight to work. Because we want to communicate to Liberians that we are catch up. That to change that will require work and sacrifice. That will not change because we're talking. It will not change because we wish it to change. It will not change only because we pray, because we gotta pray, but you have to work and sacrifice. So we'll do good work on the first day, right? We will introduce a national youth service program in the first 100 days.
Yes.
We'll introduce a fund for Liberian businesses, microloans, all the way from farmers, market women, all the way up.
Yes.
We will initiate an audit of everything we inherited. We're not going after any individual.
Yes.
But we make sure the integrated institutions, the ANC, the GAC, all of them, got the right people, the right skills, the right resources, and they will follow the evidence. When I tell them go after anybody, that's not my job. My job is to resource it, and whatever evidence it is, but we inherit whatever we inherit. So we will, all of these people creating the entire lane in it is symptomatic of the lack of discipline, the lack of opinion. Everybody got to follow the traffic rules now. Right? All the people running around with siren, we take all that stuff away. Everybody got it. Because when you don't feel the pain, you got no incentive to face it. So a lot of the traffic light realize it's like in fact at the previous intersections where all the confusion comes. It's like the traffic people that can help you design that to fix it. Everybody got that. So we do some simple things, some symbolic things on the one, and we started. One of the other things I would do is, because we need the cabinet as well, I would take all of the cabinet, deputy minister, all that. I would take them to, somebody suggested it, I think it's a good idea, I don't want to take credit. I would take them to South Beach. So they can see where they will go when they see that. I promise I would do that. We take everybody, go there, they can see a good look, they will give it as, especially as Spanish. That will make it a little bigger, right? That will make it more comfortable. To make it bigger to take more people. So when I say screw up, we're taking that. I am done.
Let me borrow your microphone for a second. One second, guys. Yeah, so we're here until 4. I want to first just take a look at the hands. I know Kayla's next. I know he's next. He's after Kayla. Yeah, I saw her too. So what we can, for those who have asked questions, please, I plead with you, let's give those who have not asked questions an opportunity. So we'll go with Kayla first, the gentleman that were the light blue, the lady over here, and then him. And we do also have a question on social media. We've got to get all that done by 4 p.m. So please keep your questions short. Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Cummings.
How are you? I got your text, but.
Oh, great. I am Dr. Hicks. My area of studies is cosmetology and beauty. So it's in the trade line. I've been to Liberia several times just to see how things are set up in our industry. Our industry is currently about $49 billion a year in the US, and around the world is about 570-some billion. And the leading markets are China, Japan, and the US. And believe it or not, the beauty industry started in Africa, in Egypt, from hair coloring, so on and so forth. But yet we're not on that list. So when you become president, what program, what can you put in place with, me assisting, not being part of government, me assisting the country to be on that, because the beauty industry is one of the most powerful industries in the world, beauty and barber. And what I see in Liberia, everybody's just doing it their own way. I don't see any inspections. Here we have to be board certified, we have to take a little test, and then that's extra income coming in for the government to do their job.
Okay, that's good, thank you. So we'll go ahead and move on to that.
Thanks, Kayla. So, just some facts, and there are different aspects to your question and to Liberian participation in that sector. But in this country, in the US, this is where I say Liberians, we can fly, probably the richest Liberian, right? Rich to dentists. It is money in beauty, in healthcare, and I happen to know this guy. I helped give them advice and on the board and all that sort of stuff. But so we participated, but in this country, and very successful, right? There's a small company in Liberia called J-Pound that is also in that business, they're also doing very well. I know Mahmoud Johnson, but he's doing well. But you are correct, there are many more opportunities in that sector. Because the vanity of human beings, men and women, that everyone in the world is insatiable, right? We like to look good, right? We like ourselves and so beauty after, right? And so there are lots of benefits, and there's a lot of ingredients locally that we can use that can solve a lot of the beauty challenges and that kind of stuff. So that's a sector, and other sectors we will encourage. The other dimension of your question is putting in standards, right? But those standards apply to everything in Liberia, not just the beauty side, right? Standards on importing food, medication, all that kind of stuff. Standards for schools. Anybody go to a school today?
Yeah.
In Liberia, quality doesn't matter, right? So standards, but something with politics, all of you yet, we got to think about standards. A lot of regulations on the books, we can enforce. And in some cases, we may need different regulations. But it is up to you, and it's something we'll encourage. But again, we will encourage it, we'll create an environment, but I'm not are the ones that have to take the initiative, because it's a private sector opportunity. What the government will do is make sure the regulation is fair, reasonable, and is enforced, and the standards are there, and will make the business environment conducive for people to make money, not make it onerous, but then we want to encourage Liberians to go to business. Okay? Thanks.
My name is Arthur Rogan. I've been affiliated with the WhatsApp page for ANC for a while. Having attended any event, having committed, but I got a text from Alva. I don't know who Alva is, but one Alva got a text from him. Encouraging me to participate one of these weekend events. And that's the reason why I'm here. Just listen to you in person, you know, and maybe make an informed decision. The question I have, and that's why I hesitate most of the time to affiliate with Liberian style organizations here in the US, is because people are sometimes not really what they are, very selfish. And then we are so used to doing things the wrong way. We're so used to doing things the wrong way. To the extent even that we're not fair to ourselves. There's a team around you, we've read about you, we've studied you, you have a really good name out there, you're a very good person. You have lots of good people around you, but at the same time, there are those who are ill-prepared. How do you handle these people when you become president tomorrow? Because yeah, they work so hard, but if you're a gardener, I would expect that you will be a gardener in Liberia. Okay, I work with the federal assistant, and it's a shame for me when I'm at these meetings and people are talking about our own central bank and how it looks like. And I know that in my role, if I were on an exam, he would not be one of the person I would even pick the interview and talking to bank staff. But this is the situation we find ourselves in. How do you deal with this?
Yeah, great question. And I mean, I'll go on record now, saying to everybody who listens to my voice that appointments will be made based on merit. We want everybody, we want and ask everybody to support us. But if the support is contingent on getting a job that you're not qualified for, I'm not a guy. I see that in this public fashion. So I said to Liberians, if you want, just get a government job, come play big shot, can't see that very good money, I'm not a guy. Don't support me. That's not what this is about. And I'm not going to tell you what I want to hear, because that will not be true, and that's not what we'll do. So if you qualify, come apply. We'll value you versus other options we have. And if you're the best man or woman, you will get the job. But we're not, you're absolutely correct. And you mentioned the central bank governor, so I think he was a quote-unquote compliance officer. You do know what that means? And you can become central bank governor? Are you serious? Are we kidding ourselves? I mean, what, it's a country that's 175 years old. The apex, monetary organization. And they're qualified here. And I would say, you don't have a choice, right? It may not be 100 to choose from, but you got at least a dozen qualified people, right? But that's just one example of the aptitude and confidence I keep saying, that people, because they're physicians, or because they're second tribe, or whatever else, if you're a physician, by the way you qualify, will get a job. I don't care what your political party was. I don't know against physician. If you're Liberian, you qualify to get a job. So whether you ANC, Unity Party, you qualify, you get a job. And qualification means the expertise, the experience, but the ability to lead, right? To be a minister, you gotta lead teams of people, you gotta build organizations, you can't just pure technical expertise, right? The technicians will be at the assistant minister level, the director level, right? Pure technicians. But at the council level, you need to lead as well, right? And so again, if you just because you're a company, you can't be minister of finance, again. You gotta be qualified.
Thank you. Yeah, question over there.
Good afternoon, everybody. Okay. Mr. AC, it's good to see you again. I think I got to know you, not personally, but through my late sister. I think I told you that before. She went to school with you in Liberia. And I remember about maybe 5, 6 years ago or something like that, she called me on the phone and she was telling me about this one person, Alexander Cummings. And she was so excited, the voice was so vibrant and so I could listen to her. And she had so much to say about you. And she said to me, why don't you go and just look it up and see about this man? I can't tell you, it's just too much, which I did. And it's unfortunate that she's not here today, but I just want you to know, in remembrance of her, I stand here before you because she inspired me. And so I am here today. And I don't envy you at all. I just like to say, I take my hat off to you. I don't have on a hat, but it's saying, I take my hat off to you because it's good to know that for me, for the first time, I see a man, and I'm going to say whether you like it or not. I see a man right now standing here without blemish of corruption. This is what I see. When you ask me how I see this, I'm going to tell you how I see this. From his record, if you have not read, go back and read it. That writing is plain for you who can understand and who choose to understand. And when you do, you're going to have a running in your feet to say thank you and to give your support. Okay, that's enough said. I have one question. My work for over 40 years started from the church. I was teaching Sunday school at 11 years old. So my work has been with children. And then it went on to be women. So my question is to you right now is that when you become president, what will you do to help the rape victims, women and children? I myself have put my hands to the plow, and I've been doing this for over 20 years. and I will continue to do it. But I just want to know, what will you do?
Thanks for the question.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks for the kind words. Very much appreciated, thank you. So on the rape issue, I often start by saying, if you look at the rape statistics in Liberia, then we, the Liberian men, should be embarrassed.
Sure.
We, the Liberian men, we should be embarrassed. This is a regular, right? So we will call it out, this embarrassment to shame us as Liberian men for rape. Then I go back to the point on the stealing. There has to be consequences for people who commit these violent acts. In addition to consequences, and I think this is another one of those things where Liberians are also participate. If your uncle or the father or the brother rape, you should report it and don't say, oh, then keep it quiet in family, don't be embarrassment. The sun will not change, will not stop if we condone it, and society to some extent does. So there's going to be consequences when people commit these acts. And then we gotta make sure we don't re-victimize the victims through the processes we put to investigate. We gotta make sure we got the clinics that can, assist them and the rape kids, and again, work with the victims so again, they're not re-victimized, so they can come forward. So these are all the kinds of things we need to do with regards to rape. But bottom line is, there gotta be consequences when that happens. And we gotta get the point where society actually frowns on it, right? This is where everybody the government gotta lead it. All of us, like, gotta condemn it. No matter who does it. And nobody should come make excuses or come back or welcome these acts. We cannot let that happen. So those are some of the things we'll do to make sure we address. Like anything else in the country, people make rules and do stuff. And you cannot have a country where people nobody follow the rules. It can't be. And we will not allow that. You break the law. You're not going ahead and go ahead. Put you in jail. Punish you. That's simple.
That's simple, that's simple. We follow the rules here in the US, so we can follow the rules in Liberia. Okay, we are closing in on that 4 o'clock hour. So I think what we'll do is, this will be the last question I'll take from social media, and last question for the hall. Not the last question, because we're gonna be done. And then we'll have him give a closing remarks. And so, because we want to try to really stick to the time, so please, let's just be understanding. So let's take this question from social media. And thanks to all who have been watching the social media, because of your patience. So this question comes from Lofa Julius. It says, number 1, Mr. Cummings, as a victim of the justice system, what are some things you'll do specifically to improve things? And then number 2, I heard you promised to work free of charge. What motivated you to do this? Those are the questions.
Sure. So on working free of charge, again, it is a reflection of the fact that I'm not aspiring to serve our country for money or for status or for all the trappings that come with the job. As I said, I've been blessed that I can provide for myself and my children and grandchildren. So the salary will be donated to, we'll pick some charity and we'll make it public. But whatever that salary is, I don't know what is salary, you can look it up. That salary will donate.
The president get higher salary, get higher for the budget.
I will make it public.
Exactly.
We'll make all of that stuff. In this country, the president of America made $400,000 a year. That's not a secret. The Congress will make, I think, like $180,000, $190,000 a year. It's why is that a secret? Everyone. That's we have to get across the city too. if we know how many speakers make, or he or she getting all of these things, I ask the question, well, how come he's just making so much of a high get for all of this stuff, right? So, then the other question was on the justice system. So it ties with another question about safety and security, right? There are some things that are foundational to any country, right? If people don't feel safe, if a judicial system don't work, if you don't have basic infrastructure, your country will not develop, right? Of course, you gotta have good healthcare education, but that's not foundational, right? So on the judicial system is we gotta fix the judicial system, and it starts with appointing the right people, whether it's Ministry of Justice, or judges on the bench, or magistrates, get the right people with the right skills, the right intention, and hold them accountable to do their jobs. Making sure that the executive branch is not interfering in the judicial branch. So it's not the role of the president, because if you have a system where you enter a contract, and for whatever reason it goes wrong, and you don't have any confidence that the judicial system will adjudicate on a fair basis, you're not being money out of it. If the president picks up the phone and call it judge and say, do this, and that, you're not being money, right? Or if the system doesn't treat violent crimes the way it should be treated. Look, this is a system where God knows these things for a reason. I've experienced the Nigerian judiciary firsthand. I used to go to the court hall with me. We used to sit on the prisoner's bench. Literally, right when they accused me of forging some document again, BS, I've been a judge. A boss charge, right? And so I was experiencing firsthand how the system doesn't work. That was a misdemeanor. It's Elizabeth General Report, all of these rip getting going on, he go to jail. You come to court every day on a misdemeanor charge, right? So we've experienced the justice system. It was the reason why going on with experience. So we know what to do to fix it from the bottom up, from the ministerial level. Because where most Nigerians experience the judicial system is at the ministerial level. So we're there first to fix it, and then we'll work out. But like with everything, to the gentleman's question, it's about getting the right people. You get the right teams, you get the right leaders, and you'll be surprised how quickly things will change. You will surprise you. Pick the right people, create the right team, and you'll see how things will change. So, judicial system, like everyone else, we gotta find the right people. And then when you don't go forward with gender, ask them to move on, please. We'll get the next person a chance to do the job. Okay.
I'm so sorry, guys. We have many folks with hands up. I want to be respectful. I don't want to pick anyone over the other. I also want to respect the time. I'm sorry, I'm turning this on. So I want to respect the time. Dola, I know you have a question, but I apologize.
It's a rejoiner.
No, because she's been waiting over here as well. She was here first and I asked her to sing. And so she's you want to take this too? Okay, so then he said we can take this too. We'll go ahead. Let's start with her first because she's been waiting.
I want to say thanks to you. And what I'm seeing, where Liberia is when Talbot was coming into leadership. And when he came, what he brought was total involvement, made everybody. So the time, in such a time as this with Liberia, the young people, when they see the reality, they will know that there's something there for them and they will get involved with you. And it's my prayer, as I pray for Liberia, that you will get us involved, that Liberia will stand in and be your country.
Thank you. Topo was total involvement for higher heights.
Yes.
Right. I think he was one of our better presidents.
Ms. Thomas, I didn't want to say anything, but your statement just now, concerning the fact that you don't want to take a salary. I think you mentioned that last time you were running, you said you give your salary to people, which I thought was a great thing. Said, I will give my salary to the country. And I was surprised. I didn't know about that. I said, this man is like a priest. If he gave the salary for senator, and we take that salary 3 months, we could distribute that money to JFK, to education, to another institution. And that would improve the country. Because he's not asking for salary, he's asking for service, to be a servant leader. And I've been thinking in my own mind, processing, that a leader of this type would definitely have to be a priest. A leader of Liberia that does not want to take his salary, he wants to be a priest, which is good. The mentality or the mindset that we have is one of dependency. So what are you going to do there? Oh yeah, he got money. He made a lot of money. So it's all right. There's one phase of it. What I thought when you made that statement the first time, I thought if you could take that money and every month is paid, go to each county, that's part of economic decentralization. Go to each county and develop farm development program for each county, giving it money. That would be using it wisely. They wouldn't feed that the dependent. What I'm trying to say here is, first of all, I applaud you for we consider you a priest. Priest, economic priest. You understand that? I don't want to simplify. Yeah. So, if you do that, let's find a way to decentralize that without money to South home in the 15 counties. That would be a good sign of development.
Thank you, and very sincerely, we will take the under consideration as we think about what to do with this salary. And it might be the kind of stuff where maybe 1 year, depending on how much it is, you only do 2 counties the next year, you do 3 or you only do 1, whatever, but so the impact can be felt around the country. The other point you make is a simple analogy I like to use too, is that the idea of developing Liberia from the bottoms up instead of from the top down. The top down models of the trickle down economics in this country, right? And this is why everything coming from over there doesn't make sense, it hasn't worked. That's why I believe in decentralization. This is why rather than paying a few people at the top a lot of money, you gotta pay them reasonably well. But if you were paying every teacher, healthcare worker, police officer, military person, extra $50 a month, I'm making a number. It multiply effect around the country is significant. Because they buy more pepper, more rice, more whatever, you create that impact, right? And so bottoms up development is the way to think about what we'll do different as opposed to top down. And we gotta do both, by the way. It's not either or. But our country has been all that. We gotta reverse it out. And as I keep saying, you can't keep doing the same thing, expect different results. We gotta do things differently. We gotta experiment. I often thought about we protecting this pepper bush, but don't go pepper the pepper bush. So I grow the pepper before we protect it, right? Simple analogy, but it's true. we find each other. Two real life stories. Liberian guy, actually both guys, one do business, Liberia, running around, he's in agricultural business. Another one, same thing, one of the agriculture, he's in Kenya today, I met him, I was in Kenya 2 weeks ago, doing farming in Kenya. Liberians who wanted to come to the weekend, they come to Friday, they want. This guy was in the Kenyans, they also, they have corruption there too, but I guess they made some money before they come actually some, right? And anyway, let me say thank you all, it's been 2 hours. Thanks for all the good questions. Let me thank the leadership of the church for allowing us to use the facility today. Let me thank the Georgia team of the ANC, Clarice is here, Wani, Vivian is here, and Lulu, many others. Yes. So thanks to everybody. It's difficult to start listening. I apologize because you need somebody about you and you get in trouble, right? So maybe I shouldn't have started. But thank you for Sina, who's the leader. I gotta mention him for that. Thank you for what's been a good weekend, good interactions. And let me leave you with a few key messages. One, we can change Africa.
Yes.
We got the people, we got the resources, we can change Africa. Two, we'll take leadership. And I don't mean leadership as in singular, leadership as in plural, take leadership to change our country. And three, we'll win the election. Thank you very much.
Okay, so before we leave, last night, those of you that didn't come to the fundraiser, so we've got all of our county information. Another thing you don't know about ANC, they're doing wonderful work around the country in different counties. So you want to read a little information about that, it's back there. You have about 15 minutes before we declare the sanctuary. And if you didn't get a chance to eat with us earlier, there's a little bit of food in the back. So do have a pleasant evening.
Also, one more thing.
Yeah.
If you have, for those who have additional questions or just things that you think of or ideas, please feel free to email ancglobalnational@gmail.com. ancglobalnational@gmail.com. Thank you all so much. Illis, you want to say anything? All right, okay, good. Well, thank you all so much for your time. Everybody get home
Thank
safely.
you.
God bless.
Yes.
My county information is that you want to make a donation to any of those